What's good? Shaman Kill.
And I'm Dr. Roz.
Back with MarriageExposed.com. Got another question. We're going to keep them coming and answering these questions. What's up, Kill and Dr. Roz? I've been married for 6 months to my high school sweetheart. We have been going through financial issues because he lost his job 2 months ago. The problem is that I know my husband is a hardworking man and he's looking for a job every day. But in the meantime, bills continue to pile up. My parents have offered to help pay rent and pay bills, but he does not want to take their help. How should I handle dealing with this?
That's a very good question. And I've actually been in this situation with the when the economic decline actually happened. My husband and I had really just recently got married too. He was working at Fannie Mae and lost his job. You guys know how horrible it got at Fannie Mae, which was part of the economic decline. And he lost his job. And first, I just have to say my husband is a hard worker. Like, he'll work 5 jobs before he asks me to get one. But for him not to have a job, it was very hard for him. And my parents obviously were like, what do you guys need? What can we help you with? And it was very hard for him to accept that help because it was his pride and feeling as if he couldn't take care of his wife, and that he couldn't be a provider. And so my father actually had to have a conversation with him as, we're family. This is what family does. It doesn't mean that you're not a man, kind of thing. But still, it was still very hard for my husband to, to actually be okay with getting help from my parents. And I think it only happened like 1 or 2 times, because the severance package and all that stuff kind of kicked in. However, it was very hard, but it was even harder seeing my husband struggle and not have a job and trying to look for work every day in the industry that he thought that he would always be able to find a job in. And I think it was out of work for, what's it, 6 or 7 months, 6, 7 or 8 months. Well, it was so long ago, but it was a very long time. What I did in that situation was that I put my husband's resume together. When he couldn't do, I did. So after he spent all day, trying to look for jobs or whatever, my husband's in IT and I don't know anything about IT, honestly. I know how to Facebook and email, that's about it. But, I did resume blast for him. I know, I'm crazy. I got him, I don't need to know. I did resume blast for him. I put a cover letter together for him. I did what I could, what I thought a helpmate should do. And that kind of eased the tension a bit because he saw that we were working together as a team. He saw that I wasn't judging him because the bills were still coming. And I I think I had just become a doctor, so I still wasn't, it was still real new. He saw that we were acting as a team, and that kind of motivated him as opposed to, me kind of looking down on him like, when you gonna get a job? And if he needed that day, and I'm not saying a week, but if he needed that day to play PlayStation or Xbox or whatever it is that they do, I was just like, you know what? Have your day. Because if that's bringing you some kind of joy, then great. Because it's the hardest thing in the world to be a psychologist and not know how to fix that mood issue or those emotional issues with your husband. I don't think he ever realized it. But he became really sad and a bit, feeling like I couldn't provide for my family. So what I would say to you is that, you have to encourage your husband. And you said he's a hard worker. So you have to encourage him and you have to help him, be his helpmate. Do a resume blast, girl, at 3 in the morning. Because I was up 2, 3 in the morning just doing stuff. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just going to different sites and just putting his resume in. And it paid off. It paid off. You have to become a team at this point, a for real team at this point.
Right. But I think I co-sign everything Dr. Roz just said.
You do?
I don't know why, but
wow.
I do.
We're agreeing.
And I think that, number one, you're not alone. You know, like Roz just said, when me and T got married, I got let go from the radio station. And so throughout like the, you know, the whole planning of the wedding, I wasn't working, you know, towards the end of it, you know, and then the pride was kicking in like, yo, what does her family think about me? Like, yo, you married a dude who don't have a job. We weren't married yet.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, that was coming into play. And I can say, I think that a huge thing that Roz said that's huge, and I know a lot of folk can't do this because a lot of people don't have fathers. But I think having another man sit down with a man and you know, it's kind of like Boys in the Hood. She was like, you know, Trey, you need to go live with your daddy, because there's only some things that a man can teach a man. So there's only some things that a man can say to a man that, you know, can make him feel that way. And because y'all are newlyweds and this is a lot that you're going through, and, you know, for me, I've been unemployed twice in the 12 years, 3 times in the 12 years that we've been married. And I think the first time pride got in the way. And I think as a man, prayerfully, you know, maybe you'll let your man watch this video and hear it, at least from me, that, you know, I messed up my credit because I didn't want to call mom. I didn't want to call anybody and say, hey, can you help me? Mama done helped me. All these people done helped me. It's time for me to just have to stand on my own too. And I messed up my credit, you know, just out of ignorance. You know, Discover would be like, you need to send 100. I would send 50. Thinking I'm doing something, but then later on I found out that if you're not sending the minimum payment, you might as well not send nothing.
Right,
you know, so I'm thinking I'm being responsible and I'm not messing up my credit where I was. So kind of in the past couple of years, when the economy hit and I had a couple of homeboys go through some, you know, some layoffs and losing jobs and money problems, you know, my big advice to them was don't let pride get in the way. You know, if you have people who are willing to help you, accept their help. You know, don't mess up your credit and don't mess up things because of pride, you know. And I actually had to really grasp that concept to just become thankful for having family who's willing to help you. And it's something that I think people
that can
help you. And I don't mean to say good families and bad families, but you know, just the fact that there are some people out here with families who are like, oh, that's messed up. You ain't working too bad. I'm taking this cruise, so peace. You know what I mean? So you there are people that are out here who don't have anybody to help them. So if you have people, you know, who are offering help, that's a blessing, you know. And I think that's one of those things that a man has to say to a man, that it's hard to come from, you know, the wife, and then especially it's hard to come from her family, because you may be thinking, I don't want them to look down on me. And so I think the key thing that was huge was that your father, you know, reached out to Frank.
And then his family too, but he really didn't want to go here. I'm like, boy, it's okay.
And then I think the other pieces too is, like Roz said, to become that help, but to also ask, what kind of help do you want? Because there, you know, sometimes women
don't step on his toes.
There are sometimes that women are like, well, I'm doing this for you, and it's like, well, I didn't ask you to. So it's just to keep your neck out the chopping block, because men do get depressed. We go through mood swings. Because like you said in an earlier video, our manhood is usually tied into our job. So if we don't have a job, so you want to ask, well, what do you need help with? What can I help with? How can I support you? You know, so then that way you're not thinking, oh, well, this is what I would want somebody to do for me, which is a lot of, as couples, we do in the beginning stages of marriage, and some don't get it in the later stages of marriage, that I'm going to do for him what I would want somebody to do for me, which is 9 times out of the exact opposite of what he wants. So you're looking at it like, I'm trying to help. And so just ask, what can I do to, you know, be a help me? What can I do to help out? You know, if you want me to just fall back, I'll fall back. And I agree with Roz again. You know, looking for a job is not an easy thing. So, you know, like she said, if he's playing PlayStation, don't be like, see this dude, that could be time that dude could be. It's stressful, it's time consuming, and at the end of the day, again, just like I've always said, I've had homegirls who are like, you know what, Kil, I'm not gonna work no more. I'm not happy with my job. I just want to find myself. I'm going to move back in with my parents and just kind of start over again. Just hit the reset button. And that's okay. At 38, you could say that as a woman. I'm just going to hit the reset button and just try all over again. And guess what? No guy is not going to date you because you live at home. Or no guy is not going to date you because you don't have a job. But let a 38-year-old black man tell you, you know, I'm not feeling this right now. I'm just hit the reset button and just move on back home with mom and dad. And, you know, nah. It's not going to happen. So you got to always understand that you know, it's a lot easier, and it's crazy because I know women who during these 2-3 years of just hard times have lost jobs and got jobs, and quit jobs and got jobs, and it's just like I got a rack of dudes who can't find a job doing anything, you know. So I agree with Dr. Roz. Support your husband, talk to your husband, let him watch the video, let him hear from another man who was in that situation numerous times. That, you know, if you have somebody who's willing to help you, that's a blessing. So, prayerfully that helps. I'm your man, Kil.
And I'm Dr. Roz.
All questions and comments at marriageexposed@gmail.com. We get back with y'all ASAP. We on it this go round. So, keep it locked.